Hey guys, Nanomachines, and we're taking a look at the Transformers trading card game once more, and today we have Metroplex. Now, Metroplex has been fully revealed by the Transformers trading card game Facebook page. It's been officially revealed by Wizards, and that means we have clear scans of every single aspect about these cards, including the alternate side of Metroplex, telling us how many stars he is, what conditions that he can deploy the other characters, and many more things. So, to start us off, how does Metroplex work? How many stars does he have? How does he fit into a team? And Metroplex is your team. He is 25 stars. As you can see, there was a lot of people saying, oh wow, Metroplex is 5 stars. Is that even balanced? How is that even a thing? It is 5 stars times 5 stars times, like, it's a 5 in each of those stars. It represents 25 stars. And that's really interesting, because there is nothing taller than Metroplex in this game. Now, normally playing tall is 2 characters. You know, you would have Nemesis Prime and Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend. That's a tall deck. Metroplex is 1 character. That means he will be the always center of attention. There will be nothing else really that's grabbing your opponent's attention more than that. But he has a very unique ability, and that is, he says this begins the game with 3 characters underneath it, and that is Scamper, 6-Gun, and Slammer. And when you flip to that mode, that city mode, he gets to deploy one of those characters from beneath him onto the battlefield. So, you could say, oh, well, I can transform to robot mode, rapid conversion, and then bam, you get a slammer out or whatever. A lot of these characters have their own specific abilities which power up Metroplex, and you'll need to do that, like give him more bold because of his robot mode. His robot mode, if you didn't know, has the effect that when you attack and you flip at least 2 of every single color, you tap each enemy and do 1 damage to each of them. It's very interesting, especially since you can play armed hovercraft as well. You can spread 2 damage to each of your opponent's characters, and then you get to attack them. You get to focus them down with all of your other smaller guys you've been able to put on the field. Metroplex has that nice effect, but he needs bold in order to pull it off, and that's where these small characters come and help him out. For instance, Scamper's vehicle mode. He has the effect that your Metroplex has bold 1. Now, you know, that doesn't sound super good, but when you attach a flamethrower to him and play a supercharge, now he has bold 6. And that is pretty good, and that means that he's going to be able to flip a lot of cards and almost definitely be able to pull off that effect to tap all of your opponent's characters. That's really cool. That's very cool, actually. Now, tapping all of your opponent's characters is only good when you have more than just Metroplex out. Because, well, they're just essentially just going to be able to attack with those characters again. I mean, once they're all tapped, then they all untap at the start of their turn. I mean, sure, they're not going to be able to do focus you down with like this massive turn, but generally speaking, it's not as massive of an effect as you might think. Tapping 1 character is powerful. Tapping them all is, honestly, it seems a little less powerful, you know? But that's just another discussion for another time. Scamper has a very interesting point cost, and has 4 stars. He has 4 stars and some of the most abysmal stats I've ever seen on any character ever. So, like, literally, if you blow on this guy, he's going to die instantly. But the fact that he has 4 stars is very, very good, because you can play him in other decks, including tall decks. You could have, say, Ramjet and Starscream, and then suddenly, like, the uncommon Starscream. So now you have 21 points, and that's just wasted point potential. And having 4 extra points that you can deal with, you can just put Scamper in, and he's just there. He's there to take a hit, He's there to be an extra little attacker on the field that gives you another little turn. Playing tall isn't actually as bad anymore because you can play these smaller characters to act as a pawn, if you will. But Scamper's robot mode is honestly very interesting as well. You wouldn't be using it too much, I don't think, but when you do, it has the interesting effect that when you flip to this mode and you have Metroplex on the battlefield, you get to scrap an enemy weapon or armor. Now, scrapping weapons, I've been holding fast to the idea that it's not that good. Scrapping a weapon is just pretty much the same thing as doing nothing. They can attach another weapon. Generally speaking, they're going to be attaching grenade launchers, and they'll discard at the end of the turn anyway. Scrapping weapons is not good. Scrapping armor, though. Scrapping armor is very good. I've really noticed that the decks that can scrap armor consistently have a lot going for them because they can scrap force field, and they can also scrap reinforced plating. And scrapping reinforced plating, you might say, oh, that doesn't sound good at all, but when you're facing something like trucks or tanks or something like that, that's like, or Nemesis Prime, that's like super defensive, very bulky decks, they're playing a lot of blue, reinforced plating is just a blast shield every single turn. It's really kind of absurd how good the reinforced plating can be, but being able to discard that with Scamper is a very good effect. But that brings us to the next guy, and that's Six Gun. Six Gun is a leg cannon. That's what he turns into. He turns into a cannon that attaches to Metroplex. It's weird. I don't understand it. But anyway, he gets the effect that he gives your Metroplex the ability to do 1 damage indirectly to the defender that he is attacking. And that's just a regular thing. Like, Six Gun is still there. He's not doing anything to do that. He's just sitting there on the field. And that's very good, because you're going to be transforming Metroplex and then attacking with him. You're going to want to attack with him as much as possible because you don't want your small guys to take any damage whatsoever because they will not survive. So the fact that they support Metroplex this much is a good thing, for sure. His stats aren't anything to write home about, not really. I think he has the highest HP out of all 3 of them, with 5 HP. Yay. But his robot mode actually has a considerable amount of damage. Honestly, it's very... well, considering these guys. It's low, always low. Like, this is 4 attack, and that's like the biggest thing on these things. But the best part about him is the effects. When you flip to his robot mode, Metroplex gets bold 2 until the end of your turn. Now, you won't be transforming these small guys. These small guys, I don't think you're going to be transforming almost at all. You're going to be transforming Metroplex like 90% of the time. But if you ever do need that extra bold, Six Gun's where you need to go. Transforming and give yourself bold 2, flamethrower, bold 4, supercharge, bold 7, you're going to pop that Metroplex effect pretty much confirmed at that point. And I really like that. I think Six Gun might be the best of them, but we'll see later. Because we get to take a look at Slammer. Now, Slammer doesn't have a robot mode. Slammer is actually just a drone. He's just a tank. He doesn't do anything but be a tank. And he has a really interesting effect, and it's when you deploy him from underneath Metroplex, you do 1 damage to each enemy. And here's the kicker. He also just base gives Metroplex bold 1. And I think that's very powerful, given that's basically what Scamper did as well. He just kind of just sits there, gives them bold 1, but Slammer spreads 1 damage to each of them. And that's something that you pretty much already do. You know, Metroplex spreads 1 damage to each of your opponent's characters when you pop that effect, and he's ranged, so you can attach an armed hovercraft. It's honestly not that bad at all in terms of spread damage, and I like it a lot, actually. Of course, his stats are pretty much abysmal. He has 3 attack, which means he has 0 attack. Like, 3 attack isn't going to do anything. 3 defense is good, but he has 3 HP. He only has 3 HP, guys. Like, he's not going to live if your opponent attacks him, ever. Which brings us to the cards that come in the Metroplex deck. Because there are a lot of cards in here that would expand their survivability. You know, 6 Gun has 5 HP, which means you can attach a force field to him, and he'll take a hit. And that's very good. But everyone else has 4 HP or lower. So if they're ever attacked, they're going to die. Which is why you have Protected by Metroplex. Protected by Metroplex is essentially heroism, but it's on an orange pip. But the important thing is you get to play both Protected by Metroplex and heroism in the same deck. Now, literally, what it is heroism, but kind of reverse. It says, if the upgraded character would take damage, instead your Metroplex takes that damage. Metroplex having 36 health, you don't care. You can attach that to somebody, like, you know, Scamper, I don't know. And Protected by Metroplex will activate. Metroplex takes that damage instead, and you just kind of save him from exploding in a fiery death. And that's very good. Now, Heroism also does pretty much the same thing. You can attach a Heroism to Metroplex, and he'll take that damage for your characters. It's a very good way to keep these small characters alive and use them effectively. Because the whole thing is you're going to be tapping all of your opponent's characters and attacking with all of your small guys on the same character to compound that damage and do potentially a lot of damage to that one character. And of course, if you ever untap all your characters, right, your opponent gets a chance to attack one of your small guys, and Protected by Metroplex and Heroism definitely make it a viable survivability in terms of instead of not. Like these cards allow you to be able to win the game instead of having no chance of winning the game. Now, we've already seen Rally the City, but I kind of wanted to touch on it a little bit again because it isn't as super good as it might seem. Now, it says if you have Metroplex on the battlefield, draw a card for each of the character you have in the battlefield. Normally, let's just draw one card because you have Metroplex. You transform him once, well, it's the second time you transform him. He gets a character on the field, so that's drawing 2. This card seems good, right? But you need to be able to transform Metroplex way more than like once every other turn to get a character on the field to really take advantage of that. And at most, it's going to be able to draw you 4 cards. Now, a card that I like better than Rally the City is Equipment Enthusiast, and I don't think that you would play Equipment Enthusiast over Rally the City. I think you would play it alongside it, but Equipment Enthusiast just draws more cards overall than Rally the City, and I think it's definitely a strong card, and probably stronger than Rally the City, but Rally the City is a Metroplex exclusive action card, and I think you should play as many exclusive cards for Metroplex in the Metroplex deck, because he kind of needs all the help he can get. Finally, we have one of the more interesting cards, and that is Height Advantage. Height Advantage, you kept hearing me talk about Supercharge. Height Advantage is a better Supercharge. It just straight is. It says one of your Titans gets bold 4 until end of turn. That's just a straight better Supercharge. Sure, it's on a blue pip, but you don't really care, just as long as the blues and oranges and whites are all balanced in your deck. As long as everything is perfectly balanced, as all things should be, Height Advantage will just be a strictly better Supercharge. Height Advantage allows you to pull off those incredible tapping abilities that Metroplex has, and it makes him have a lot more potential than he initially had. I very much like height advantage as a card. Very much. Small S boys, they're all pretty much 4 stars. They're all at 4 stars. Are they worth playing in any other deck other than Metroplex? Because you can. They're 4 stars. And I think the only one that really has that level of potential would probably be 6-Gun. Simply because he's small enough, and all of these characters are going to die in one hit. So no matter what you put into your deck, it's going to just get obliterated. 6-Gun has 5 health and thus is the most viable at surviving, unlike his compatriots. You can put a force field on him, and that's the most important thing. He has 4 attack, and you can attach a force field to him. That's not bad. There's actually precedence for running a 6-Gun in your tall lists. And it may seem weird, because literally 0 of his effects actually happen, because they all deal with Metroplex. But he fills in a void in terms of point value. And I think that is enough to take him in some of your tall lists, because you would have no other option. I'd rather have something than nothing, is basically what I'm saying. So, in closing, do I think that Metroplex as a whole is good? I would say maybe. Honestly, like, I haven't playtested him yet. I'm about to do that. I'm about to build a full Metroplex out. I'm going to print them all out and make proxies. But here's the thing. He takes a lot to set up. Like, transforming again to poop out 1 character. That isn't good. If it was put out multiples, then that would be very good. But the only saving grace I can see is having rapid conversion and rollout. Both of those need to be a staple in the deck, otherwise the deck just won't work. But the necessity for playing those cards in order to actually get the deck to work is worrying. I'm not gonna lie, it's very worrying in order to see how Metroplex can survive. You know, because you have Insecticons, right? You have Insecticons, they hit for a lot of damage. Dinobots hit for a lot of damage really quickly. And for a slow deck like Metroplex, I can definitely see it losing to these faster decks. And it's worrying. It is. Because Metroplex might be only niche instead of being part of the meta, where I really hope that he is part of the meta. I'll learn more when I playtest and build him. And when I do, I will be posting a deck profile for Metroplex on my channel. So please stay tuned for that. So, without further ado, I will sign off here. And as always, if you liked this video, please hit that subscribe button, because it shows me I'm doing something right. And if you really liked it, please hit that like button, because I'm lonely and I need validation. As always, you hit that bell icon to be notified when my videos go live. And as always, this is Nanomachines, signing off.